Hello, everyone,
Hello.
and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to be discussing two critical areas for business growth. It's marketing strategies that drive real sales and how smart payment strategies can help protect margins and reduce costs. My name is Lilia, and I'm a digital marketing and social media executive at the Swiss SmartPay. And today we are joined by two fantastic experts who will share practical insights that business can apply straight away. With me today is Michael. He is strategic partnership manager from the Swiss SmartPay, and Kate, who's SEO and founder of Digital Imagination Group.
Thank you for having me today, guys. Really nice to join in.
Thank you as well for joining, and looking forward to sharing some knowledge.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. I will start with Kate, as the marketing is one of the first steps in starting and scaling the business. And Kate, let's imagine that you want to start your own business and you don't have anything yet. What's this one marketing strategy you would prioritize today if starting from zero?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say again that you are very welcome to ask any questions. And if you have a business that you're running right now, or if you're willing to open the business, you can just give us a message just here in the chat, and I will be talking more specifically about your industry, or if you have a more particular question, because marketing is very broad, and I would really love to give you some practical tools that you can use in your business starting tomorrow. So in terms of what I would do if I would be just starting my own business, I would definitely focus on understanding my target audience. And again, I'm working a lot with SMEs in my job. So for the past 7 years, I'm doing marketing, and all of those companies were SMEs. And quite always, a startup would come to me and say that they have a very limited budget, but they have a great idea that they really want to share with other people. So what I would always say is that focus on very specific niche and understand your target audience, understand why would they come to you specifically, and start doing a lot of personal brand around your business. So in my experience, personal blogs of the company owners get much more engagement and views and leads rather than the company account, because everyone really likes speaking with either a brand ambassador or the brand owner directly rather than with just a company on its own. So I would say humanize your brand. That's the first marketing strategy. Was that way. Second of all is use a lot of direct sales. If you are a small company and you're just growing, build personal network, build personal partnerships with other companies, go to events. This is the best way to start growing your business if you're just first day in and you don't know much and you don't have a big budget to waste. I would say just make sure that your business model works, who's your target audience, and then you can start thinking about either brand community or doing target ads. If you're doing a product, for example, you're thinking to do like an Amazon shop or something, this is a little bit different of a story. There you would need to be working more on like visuals of your product. But in general, if we're talking about, let's say, average business, I would be really advising you to start working on your personal brand, because people would be coming to listen to other people.
Okay, as a marketer, I know that we constantly look how other businesses do their marketing. In your opinion, what is the most common mistake businesses should stop doing immediately in their marketing?
I see a lot of clients who come to me saying that their ads don't work, for example, or that they spend a lot of money on something and they expected a very big return on it. So I would say one of the biggest mistakes is do all eggs into one basket, or trying to spend a lot of money, for example, on ads when it's your first time running ads. So you would just usually waste your budget, just because even like Meta Business Suite, they have their own algorithm, and you need to kind of warm up your account in order for them to be more profitable. So I would say it's take smaller steps and look at the bigger picture. One of the greatest advantages of SMEs, they have less bureaucracy, they have less of the approval chain, so you have a more freedom of testing your own ideas, doing more creative ads, or just kind of make a bigger diversification of what you're doing, and do it on a small budget, on a small scale. See what works best for your audience. Don't just put, I don't know, a couple of £100 or K into idea that doesn't have a social proof or the proof of your customers. Second of all, one of the mistakes is when the company owner thinks that if he or she doesn't like how their social media looks like or how their marketing works, they think that they are like their target audience, and they presume that if they wouldn't kind of get a hint on it from like email or from this ad, it means that their target audience would not do that as well. So this is one of the biggest mistakes I also face, that sometimes you need to think as your target audience and do cast devs and speak directly, do like interviews with your audience and be like, okay, how did you find us? Why did you like it? So don't base assumptions based just on your idea. Listen to your team, listen to your customers, and base your assumptions and your marketing strategies not based on your personal dislikes or likes, but based on actual data.
Okay, now let's go a bit deeper into marketing strategies that actually drive real sales, not just likes and impressions. How can small business compete with bigger brands with limited budgets?
First of all, I would say niche positioning. You really need to be good at the one thing, but be like the best at what you're doing. In terms of SMEs, that will really sells and closes the client, because we don't have a privilege of being great at a lot of things at the same time, especially when we're just starting on, or when our company is like a couple of years in. Is focusing on one or two things we're doing very good, and kind of hitting all the windows and the doors and trying to open those doors with our particular idea and the product and specific positioning we are in, and just focus, for example, only on LinkedIn or on Instagram as a social channels, or focus on email only, or focus on going to events only. I would say just use your resources in a smart way. Second of all, I would say the biggest, in terms of other businesses, I would say is speed and testing. SMEs, again, have bigger flexibility. They have, they can wake up at night and be like, oh, I have a great idea which I want to implement tomorrow, and they can start working on this idea tomorrow. Versus in big corp, this takes a longer approval chain. So I would say just test different ideas, work on, for example, if you're talking about Reels, right? Conversion on Reels can very depend whether where you actually filmed the video. Did you use camera or just your headphones? What was your topic? What was your hook in the beginning? So just analyze small things and try improving, for example, one video over the longer period of time, and it would definitely bring you more because you have time to focus on one thing. Again, speed and testing, just focus on things like that way. And the third one is founder-led content. What I mean by that is in SMEs, our brand represents usually our own values. And the best way we can communicate our values with our team and with our customers is through the content, and really build this brand advocacy around us, around our values. And this is one of the biggest priority, I think, for SMEs is be sincere, be trustworthy, and kind of express your inner feelings to your customers. That's the reason why people would connect with your business, because they would find themselves in the situations you're talking about, or they would resonate with your opinion.
And in your opinion, what are 2-3 marketing channels that currently give the best results?
I would say it's also very depends on the product, whether you have a high check and small amount of customers, or you have a unit economy around thousands item for a smaller check. Overall, I would say it's UGC or community creation, because this is something you can build for a relatively small budget. Because we are in the era of de-influencing. Influencers don't work the way they were working a couple of years ago. Second of all, if we want to see kind of immediate results, is ads, target ads. It depends whether your audience is in LinkedIn, TikTok, or we're talking about pay-per-click. But it's ads, but very smartly set, with a good A/B testing. So you said couple of ads for your audience, you test what ads works the best, and then you kind of allocate the budget. You don't create just one or two visuals and you pray for the best. You create like 10 or 20 and you just look at the coefficient of how efficient it was in terms of the budget you allocated to it, and then you work it out through that way. Third, I mean, recently, as we are in era of ChatGPT, there's a lot of people working with SEO, thinking how we can make our website stand out in the ChatGPT search or in like an AI search. So this is a thing to look into as well, is how can we use the keywords? What keywords uses AI agents that people are using, or ChatGPT, for example, when people are searching for our product? How would the customer search for our product? And then what is the difference between Google search and ChatGPT? Because in ChatGPT we usually, we don't form our thoughts the way we form in the Google. We just kind of try to be like, oh, give me the result now. So this is working with SEO and keywords on your websites the way ChatGPT would understand it.
Okay, you told us about influencer marketing. It is everywhere right now, but is it still worth it for small brands? And if yes, how can they do it the right way?
So last week I was in one of very interesting event. It was a company that holds marketing for like Macallan or London Gin, and they are like $1 billion companies. And even they said that we have like 15 influencers we're working with, which is quite a small amount. But those influencers are our brand advocates. So this is not like a one-time placement. They are working with them for ages. And they know that over a long period of time, they bring in customers, just because right now, when you do product placement with an influencer for like one reel, it wouldn't give you much of a feedback. But if we're talking about building long-term relationships with influencers and between us and them, then that works. If you choose a couple of the influencers, you work with them for a couple of months, that would give you the result, definitely. But more businesses right now are looking into UGC creation and UGC creators more than influencers, just because it's cheaper. The microbloggers are everywhere. A lot of content creators are happy to create content and be your brand ambassadors. Again, really depends on your niche, because there's a lot of businesses, for example, as your company, guys, you wouldn't be really doing a lot of integration with influencers just because you're in financial industry and it's a little bit different way of putting the marketing. But in general, it's, I would say, brand advocates and UGC creation, because people really want to see how other people interact with your product. It's human stories.
Okay, and if you already have a big following base, you have a lot of followers, how can business turn these followers into paying customers?
Quite often we had a situation that the company would have a lot of followers, but those followers would be friends of friends, people who are working in the company. So someone who are either competitors or just friends, and they are not the paying audience. So the first step would be understand whether the problem is that your content is not converting, and this is like a gold mine, or your current following base is just not someone who would be buying from you. They might give you a very good engagement, but they might not be the right audience to buy from you. So if the problem is with the content you're posting that is not converting your customers, I would personally recommend really to do interviews with your previous customers and say, this is, our product, you were loyal to us, we really appreciate you. What was that thing that we did that was that clicked and you decided to go for it, to work with us or to buy something from us? This is really, really a gold mine for ideas, because no one would tell you better than people who are already loyal to you. Usually the problem is actually in the second option, that the following base is not someone who would be interested in buying something. So in this case, I would say changing the strategy, because we have different types of content. We have content that gives us reach, that gives us a lot of views. But on my practice, even the project we done last month for a equestrian company in Netherlands, their problem was that they had a big following base, but those were just friends of friends or previous customers or acquaintances. And the content we were posting for them were quite often would give us a big reach, but it wouldn't give us a paying customers. So what to do with it is to focus more on educational content and professional content. It would give you less views, as always, but statistically, those videos actually bring followers. And those videos are actually, for example, bring people who would interact with your sales funnels, would interact with your automations if you have them on Instagram. Those would be your either potential customers or very near future customers.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Now let's move into something every business cares about, is profitability and margins. How can business reduce customer acquisition costs without slowing down the growth?
Yeah. So one of the idea would be working on LTV. So is it something that people can reuse or buy again, or is it like a one-time thing that they would do? So a lot of businesses right now trying to do subscription-based system where someone would go and have a trial of the product, and then they would sort of, for example, if you're talking about service industry, they would pay for like a setup, and then there would be a monthly fee. So this is something that gives you, let's say, decrease acquisition cost is harder than bringing the LTV because yeah, the loyal customers is the best thing in marketing you can just ever dream of, because acquiring new customers is harder than keeping the previous ones, because the previous ones already had the first touch with your company, they were already either dissatisfied or satisfied with your product, and they would be much more into a conversation with you. Yeah, so this is the one thing I would say. The second thing is optimizing your marketing channels in terms of a lot of SMEs try to do all the things in one, do TikTok, do YouTube, do Instagram, do Facebook, do SEO, do pay-per-click. So they're trying to do a lot of things with a small budget, and they usually generalize their audience. They don't understand that, for example, the recent project we were doing is a company that does caring for elderly people, with like either like DIY, home repairs, or tech support, etc. And we had thing that our target audience would be people over 60, the users, but the buyers would be probably their kids in their 40s. So you need to understand that if you want to talk directly to the 60-year-olds, it's usually like a church or like in-person communication or recommendation, word of mouth. You wouldn't usually find them on a lot of social medias, especially if your product is like, we will help you with your social medias, or we will help you with your tech support. So you need to think who would actually buy the product and whether the user and the buyer are the same person. And if they are different people, or if you have a broad target audience, you need to focus probably that LinkedIn would be for one audience, Instagram would be for another one. This is something we did for National Bank of Kazakhstan last year, because they had a big demographic gap between teenagers in sneakers and people in their 40s in business suits. So you need to really understand where your target audience sit in and focus only on those, rather than just trying to do all the things at once.
Yeah, it also advertisement costs are increasing everywhere, and how can business avoid overspending on ads that don't convert? How to understand?
So yeah, cost per lead right now is higher than it was, especially in like UK and US market is very expensive. I would say either do good very promotional campaign or something, or like a bundle campaign. I would say give something tangible for people to, I don't know, free consultancy, like a guideline, something to they will get for free and very fast. For example, what we were doing recently as well was like guidance on exercises, for example. So someone would get the first touch with your company, and the click rates through your ads would be much better than just trying to sell something directly, or that would require decision making just in the moment. The best thing to do is that give something for free. Second one is testing before you put the whole budget into it, because again, a lot of companies have a small experience with targeted ads, and a lot of business owners will do that by themselves rather than hiring someone for that. And if you're trying to do it on your own, create more visuals. Don't just try to put, press and boost the post and hope for the best, because this is not how it works, unfortunately. Do A/B testing, test what creas works better, you would be surprised what the difference it would be, because like even last week we had a project for ads and we had like 20 visuals that we were put for testing, and some of them were giving like 2 or 3 times higher cost of acquisition rather than the other ones. So you focus on that. And and the one thing more that with ads, I know a lot of people who are trying to set the ads for a small budget. So even one of my clients, she was coming to me and say like, oh, shall we do like a test? And I would put like, I don't know, 20, 50, $100 for an ad, and let's see whether it works. So in ads, usually you need to have a bigger budget and test it over a longer period of time. So for example, we take a month and we look this month into, for example, we take 2K and we spend the whole month working on one campaign, on developing our product or on selling a bundle or something. This would give the results, and you can, after that, decrease the acquisition costs, but not when you have a very small budget and you don't have ability to do like a step to the left or step to the right, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to test your ideas. You would just try to hope for the best.
Yes, and finally, I often see the problem that businesses often focus on new customers, but forget about the ones they already have. So how can businesses use existing customers to drive more revenue?
I mean, email marketing is quite, on the top of my head of the answer, like follow-ups, referral programs. Also, again, depends. If you're selling a product, it would be a little bit harder because I'm talking more about service industry. But in service industry in particular, people very appreciate personal communication. They love to feel special. Even if you give them something personalized, like an email about their latest post or email about their recent purchase, and give them a discount for the next one, or give them something like a bundle or something again, or follow up with them asking about their experience, or if you're organizing events, invite like top paying customers to the event for free, for example, because they would be your brand advocates, sort of that way. Yeah, but I agree that this is quite a big problem, because we're always trying to grow, but sometimes we just need to hold steady and look at what our customers already doing and focus on them, because they're already someone who paid us. So how can we make it? How can we make those customers returning customers? What was the intention? For example, if people came and made an order just because of the sale, would they be interested to continue working or to continue buying from us if we wouldn't be able to make those sales again, right? So it's looking into this idea, how can we make the customers returning customers? And my answer on top of my head is give them something extra, make them feel special, because they are special to you. They're already your customers.
Thank you for fantastic insights. We have talked about how businesses can grow revenue, but now let's talk about how they can protect that revenue and improve margins even further through smart payment strategies. So now I would like to bring Michael into the conversation. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for organizing this, and thank you, Kate, for a very informative discussion regarding the marketing. Now, the marketing is basically how to make the money, and now we're going to be talking a little bit about how to collect the money and also how to collect it efficiently. So let's go ahead.
Okay, to start, how would you describe the current UK payments landscape for business today?
Now, the payment ecosystem in UK is rapidly evolving. Okay, unfortunately, we are a little behind the likes of Europe and Asia with the payment ecosystems. It's just how it is, but we are catching up. There's been a lot of development in digital payments, open banking. You've got new card companies coming out. The competition is fierce, and everybody is driving themselves to improve, to stay relevant in the market. So it is an ever-evolving ecosystem at the moment in the UK, and between now and 6 months from now, it may not even look the same.
And what is the most common cost inefficiency you see in how businesses manage payments?
So a lot of businesses Now, take this from experience. I used to work in an accountancy firm, especially with e-commerce. A lot of businesses will want to provide as many different payment options for clients as possible. And yes, that is valid, and you should. Kate mentioned something about not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's the same thing with payment ecosystems, but not accurately organizing your payment ecosystem is one of the major cost problems you'll find, especially in ecosystems or even up to just SMEs or consultancies, anything like that. Why? Because you might want to say, okay, I want to cater to everybody. So I'm going to have this, I won't mention names, but I'm going to have this big payment system here. I'm going to have this another popular one. All my clients are going to be happy. But at the end of the day, all of those do come with a cost. So you're now having segmented payment systems, all with various costs involved, and you're not seeing, okay, does this payment system match my client? Is this payment system offering something else that the other payment system's offering? What are my monthly fees involved in this? Are they repeating costs? How does my cash flow work with this? Because not all payment systems will pay out in 24 hours or immediately. So this is all something you have to take in consideration, and there are very big cost implications of this. Some payment systems will charge you up to 3% depending on what you're doing. Some can charge you as little as 0.5%. So you have to be smart about it, see what's there, what works with your business model, and check the costings involved, and go from there.
Okay, let's talk about cost reduction and payment strategy. Where do traditional payments methods like cards still make sense, despite their costs?
Sure. Now, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. Now, there's always a need for buy now, pay later. You may not be able to pay a very large item in one go. It's just how it is. So there is always a place for cards, but there is always a place for other payment systems as well. So maybe you have a small product which a merchant can buy, maybe £50, that's fine. Now, let's say if you're trying to buy a nice big camping tent, which can run you the cost of £900, is it feasible for you to drop £900 in one go? Now, this is where your payment ecosystem comes into play. So yes, there is definitely relevance for cards, but it doesn't mean that you need to use a card for every single type of purchase. There are other options which can be beneficial for everybody. Again, talking about Pay by Bank. A lot of our clients use Pay by Bank and card solutions integrated together. You have to understand your product, you have to understand your customers and how your payment ecosystems can work together. So yes, cards are relevant, but they are not the be-all to end-all. You have other options there as well.
Okay, you talk about Pay by Bank. How does Pay by Bank compare to cards in terms of cost, and where does it create the most impact?
So, Pay by Bank is generally more affordable, and now this is in terms of the merchant's cost, okay? It's generally more affordable than card solutions because you are avoiding payment rails such as your MasterCard, Visa, Amex, etc. So, you will have less cost involved with them. Now, the other benefit, when we're talking about account to account, because for those who maybe not know what Pay by Bank is, it's essentially payments going on payment rails such as the Pay by Bank rail within UK, or you have other rails within Europe, they're all different types, but think of it as a bank transfer without sharing your account number and sort code. So you have options of doing it via payment links or QR codes, so that's basically Pay by Bank. Now, because they are instant transfers to account, you get your money instantly. Now, card solutions generally would be 24 hours at the earliest, and then it can go up to 7 days. So Pay by Bank compared to cards, again, we've discussed the benefits of cards for certain products, but Pay by Bank is fantastic if you have a smaller product which you want to receive a payment immediately from. You have a client which isn't mind dropping £50 quickly, £100, even £500, whatever they can afford, basically. So it essentially allows you to collect money at a lower cost, quicker, and generally with less fraud risk as well. This is one thing, the difference between cards and pay by bank. Cards, you have card numbers. Pay by bank is authenticated within your bank. Payments go directly to bank, they don't have to route through any individuals, you don't have the risk of losing cards, all things like that.
So the goal is to replace cards or to rebalance the payment mix?
So the goal is rebalancing. Again, I don't think we will be replacing cards anytime soon, but definitely rebalancing. Perhaps my personal opinion is that debit cards will become less of a thing. Again, with pay-by-bank options, being able to do the same effect of debit cards at a cheaper price and more effective security and faster settlements, yes, perhaps debit cards will gently phase out. That's what we do see a lot in Europe. But credit cards, on the other hand, no. Again, there is a need for buy now, pay later. But the goal is to rebalance. Have an effective network which can match everybody, but also benefit the merchants and the customers. So you don't want your merchants to just remove all the options. You don't want your customers to have every single option. So a rebalancing of cards and other payment solutions is definitely necessary, and I think something which will become more prevalent.
And how can businesses use that mix of offset to reduce overall payment costs?
So again, it's about understanding what these costs are. So you have to really check what your monthly costs are in terms of your payment solutions, because there's a lot of times very hidden costs. You may say, okay, I've got 1.5% on this machine, but then I've got a subscription cost on top of that. Then I got my terminal fee on top of that. Then I got chargebacks, or if I'm doing refunds, all of these costs come into play. Now you've also got, let's say, pay-by-bank solutions. Some can be very simple. Some can be a little more complicated. You can have a solution paying 0.5% and no monthly fees or that, however it is. Or maybe you have a different solution which is charging you on a transactional level. Okay? Say, okay, you can do up to 1,000 transactions and you can link to one sort of software and stuff like that. So you really have to understand your business model, the relevant costs, really deep into the details of the relevant costs of each payment ecosystem or rail you're using, and what, based on a scenario, maybe you can do a testing of how many orders you'd get, how many customers you're expecting, what your actual costs will be, and then you play around with it. So you're saying, okay, I'm going to have my payment ecosystem and my merchant ecosystem is primarily e-commerce. I'm going to have 10,000 orders. I expect X amount of chargebacks or refunds, everything like that. Build your scenario. Or I'm just a simple consultant and I charge directly my clients. I don't even use cards. Take all that information, see, based on a little model. You can use AI technology nowadays to model this for you very effectively. So take what information you can have, plug in the information about costings, your environment, your customers, and find out what your costs will be. And then thankfully, a lot of services also provide calculators which do this as well. So you can check on said services, what's my cost going to be for this service based on that calculator. So.
Okay, now we're waiting for beginning of financial year. So how should businesses think about payments costs at the start of financial year to better control margins over time?
Yes. So I'll give you an example. Like again, I mentioned I used to work in accounting with e-commerce, and I had a very big client turning over £500 million a financial year. That's great. Now, we started doing a yearly accounting for them, and then we turned into a monthly accounting. Why is that relevant? Because the first time we did a yearly accounting with them, and we finished the books, and they looked at their profit and loss, and they said, my gosh, how much am I paying for my e-commerce, the payment fees? A ridiculous amount of money. So understand what your costs are going to be before your financial year ends. So it's very important, especially for starting businesses, to understand I need to know what my costs on my payment solutions are going to be in the beginning so I can budget accordingly. Because if you leave it to the end, you're going to have a nasty surprise. It's better to organize first, budget for it as well, your costing. It's very important to budget for payment costs, and then go from there. And throughout the year, if you're seeing, okay, this payment solution is working really well, this one I'm not using too much, or how can I optimize my payment solutions and my costings based on it, you do that. So don't wait until the end of the year. Get everything organized in the beginning. Again, use your models, see what you're doing, you get a lot of data nowadays from any sort of payment solution, and make your decisions on that. Don't leave everything to the end, because it won't be fun.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Let's now move into how business can use payment data more strategically. What does good payments data look like, and what should businesses actually be tracking?
So we touched a little bit about what I was talking about. Now, the payment data, again, most card companies, payment solutions, everything will provide you with a lot of data. That can be about your payment failure rates, your payment costs, where your payments are coming from, what country. So all of this is the type of data you need. Why? Because there's different costs when you receive payments from different countries. So you've also got to know, okay, am I collecting only 70%? Is my payment acceptance rate only 70%? Why? What's happening there? What type of payments am I doing the most? Should I continue using one payment solution or leverage the other one when I see that's working better? So taking all of that payment information can give you a strategic outlook on what you're currently doing and what you should modify as well. So again, all of this information, if you're not really into finance, it doesn't matter, because you can take data like this and you can put it in an AI and they can analyze it for you and give you some information. So it's nowadays, with the tools we have, you don't only have to rely on big tech firms or accounting firms or consultants to help you. Yes, always seek proper advice, okay? But you can see what's happening in your actual ecosystem by yourself and take a little bit deeper look at it. Don't be scared to do that. So proper information, again, you can get exports, payment rates, acceptance rates, where the payments are coming from, what solutions they're coming from, and that's the most important, I believe.
Okay, and how can understanding customer payment preferences influence which method businesses prioritize?
So again, building on what we're talking about, understanding the preferences. So if you see that 70% of your clients are paying via, for example, let's say pay by bank, you can downsize what type of payment solutions you're using. Again, I'll give you a very useful case. There's a very big salvage auto company in United Kingdoms and United States. And again, I won't mention names just for privacy, but they recently decided to remove debit cards, like I've been talking about, from their payment ecosystem, and they're using pay by bank instead. Because they were seeing that most customers were either paying via a bank transfer or via the credit cards, because a lot of people didn't want to pass, you're talking about a couple £1,000 for each type of purchase. They didn't want to pass that through a debit card. They were more comfortable doing it directly for the bank transfers or through their credit card if they couldn't afford doing a direct payment. So they changed their ecosystem to that. One, it benefited themselves where they're paying less fees, but also they learned what their customers were doing and they adapted. So understanding what your current merchants are using more can be a boost to your efficiency on your profit and loss and your payment ecosystems. Again, a lot of these systems will charge monthly fees. A lot of them will have maybe an inactivity fee, or if you have a terminal fee. So keep an eye on what you're using, what your customers are doing, and adjust accordingly.
And what is the biggest missed opportunities when businesses don't actively analyze their payment data?
So I think it was 80% of clients will drop off if they don't have their preferred payment ecosystem. Sounds a lot, right? Yeah. So basically, if there's a payment ecosystem which is developing a lot, let's say you talk about Europe now, there's Ideal and Wero, which is very, very big payment system there. I mean, everybody in Europe has heard about it. Just imagine if everybody else is taking that payment system and your company doesn't. Now, it can result in customers not wanting to use your service. So this is the biggest missed opportunity, is not evolving with the times, not giving your customers effective ways to do the payments, and understanding how your payments ecosystem is developing. Businesses need to keep an eye on this as well. You don't want to just offer the large two names in the industry. You need to be especially mindful of your industry as well. So it's not only just about what the country is doing. See what's happening in your specific industry, what your competitors are doing, what type of payments they're accepting, and see how you can also be competitive in that manner.
Okay, now let's zoom out and talk about the bigger picture. Where does Pay by Bank sit within a modern payment ecosystem?
So Pay by Bank is definitely a very good accompaniment to what you're doing. Again, we mentioned the need for example, credit services. Now, buy now, pay later is coming into to affect that as well. So we'll see that develop down the road. But right now, we see a lot of businesses adding Pay by Bank there as a very effective way to get paid, sitting right in their payment ecosystem. A lot of times, let's say on e-commerce, you'll see, okay, pay by credit card, pay by debit card, pay by bank right there. It's very visible. So it's becoming a mainstream, well, it is actually a mainstream payment option now. So how it sits in that ecosystem is, again, giving clients another way to get paid in a safe, effective manner.
And how would it work alongside cards, wallet, and other methods rather than replacing them?
Well, they just sit very naturally inside. A lot of companies will have integrations. We go technical into it. API integration, so a lot of wallet services will now have pay-by-bank options inside there. You can just put it besides it as well. Now, the nice thing about pay-by-bank is generally the fees, as I mentioned, are quite lower. So you can easily stack your payment systems together, like whatever card solution you're using, whatever wallet solution, even crypto solution, as well as pay by bank, because the cost is not a burden in this regard. Generally, I would say, okay, we see that with a lot of pay by bank options. So it can very naturally slide into your ecosystem. You don't have to change the whole way your payment page goes or your invoicing goes. Let's say you invoice with a bank details at the bottom. All you do, if you have pay by bank, for example, replace it with a payment link or QR code. That's it. If you have an e-commerce system, the payment page, generally what happens is just another button which adds onto that. So it's not disrupting your payment ecosystem. It's just adding onto it, not changing how everything is going, but giving you added benefits.
And how is open banking involved in the UK? And what does this mean for businesses today?
Open banking has really taken off in the UK. 15 million plus users. You've got Amazon, which is using it now, eBay, which is using it, Booking.com. It's become the norm. A lot of businesses will have pay-by-bank options now. A lot of payment solutions are offering pay-by-bank rails in accompaniment to what they're offering currently. So it really has become the hot topic in payment solutions here, especially for the safety aspect and the cost reduction, of course.
And what should businesses be doing now to stay ahead as this ecosystem develops?
Well, keep an eye on the market. See, don't just choose the big names, okay? Now, you will be comfortable looking at, okay, the biggest name in open banking and this, but maybe they don't suit your business model. Maybe they do perfectly, okay? But there's a lot of fantastic options out there, not only us. You have to check what payment solution matches your business model. Don't go just choosing the biggest name because you think that's what's going to be, consumer confidence, right? Look at what they offer, look at what technology they can integrate with. Let's say, are they based on transaction volumes, or are they based on a monthly fee? Do they connect with X software? Do they not? This is what you have to take a look into. So there's a lot of amazing options out there. Be mindful. Check yourself and how you will interact with it. Okay? So do your market research. Don't just choose the first one you see on Google.
Okay, Michael, before we wrap up, just a couple of final questions. If a business wants to reduce payment costs without disturbing operations, what is the first step?
Sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
Yeah, if a business wants to reduce payments costs without disruption operations, what's the first step?
So if they want to reduce the costs without disrupting the operations, is essentially, again, seeing how the change will impact. Okay? Let's say you want to change your entire payment ecosystem. You want to change from, okay, I'm no longer taking credit cards and I want to just do cryptocurrency. That's a massive change, right? So you have to analyze what will be the impact. You can have the cost reduction, but what will be the impact? Are you looking to change the entire way your payment journey works, your client journey works, or are you just looking to add one more button? So this is what you really have to be mindful about as well. Don't go changing things just because. You need to do it strategically. You need to analyze what your customers do. Now, if your customers are all into cryptocurrency and you see, okay, all my customers are cryptocurrency users, then yeah, by all means, go do that. But if they're not, take that into consideration. So an effective change can be something very small. You can simply add another button. You don't need to change your whole ecosystem unless it's warranted. So small changes can make big impacts as well.
And finally, what does a well-optimized payment strategy looks like in practice?
Well, again, it's about the diversification and the knowing of your customer base and the knowing of what you're using. So a strategy would be getting a payment solution which fits you. Getting a few different options. You know, sometimes it happens a lot in e-commerce. You're doing 2 months fantastic with one payment solution, and then suddenly they say, oh, I apologize, your product has raised a red flag, we can't support you anymore. That's one thing to consider as well. That happens a lot, especially in the card solution worlds, okay, for risk compliance. So you need to understand how reliable it is. Is it going to be your major avenue for the payments? Is it how much you can spread it out? The cost is going to involve into it. How effective they work together as well. So you don't want anything which is too disjointed also. So it has to be familiar. But also you have to be comfortable with it and you have to understand it. So when you employ your payment solution, make sure you understand it. That is the best way to diversify your payment solutions, make sure they're effective, make sure they're not costly. Just learn all about payments, basically, as much as you can. Or if not, get someone who can help you with it as well, because they are very important.
Okay, thank you, Michael, and thank you both for such valuable insights today. We have also some questions in our chat. So I will show first question now. It's a question for Kateryna.
How can I start a
business from scratch? What advice would you give?
I mean, I work a lot with startups in tech. For them, I have a very particular advice. You know, if you don't know why you're special, this is not gonna work. Because a lot of people, when they start their business, they're very in love with their, it's like a little baby for them. They were working on it for such a long time, and they would be, this is my business. People would love it just because, it's just very cool. So if you want to start a business from scratch, you need to get the market proof of your idea, and you need to really consider not only your feelings about the product, but think firstly, what would potential customers be thinking about your business model? What is the profitability of your idea? Because again, I talk with a lot of people who have an idea of starting business or like serial entrepreneurs, and they would be talking about a business idea that would look nice, but it wouldn't give them a lot of income. Because if you look at the profit margins, the hustle of working on the business would be much higher than the output at the end. So it's sometimes thinking very rationally and putting your personal feelings about your business aside, which is sometimes quite hard. But yeah, this is I think one of the main point for me in terms of building a business from scratch. Yeah. We don't hear you. Now we do.
Yeah. Next question. Which metrics are critical at the beginning and which can be ignored? I think it's maybe for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael, you
Sure.
can go
Well,
ahead. Yeah.
would you like to go first, Kate, and I'll add in my
Sure.
section as well.
I mean, a lot of people look at the followers count or the likes count, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. Not only in terms of algorithms, neither in terms of the paying customers. Because even like Meta doesn't count as active interaction likes and followers and that much anymore. So yeah, I would say concentrate more on the end goal of either paying customers or engagement, something that is more tangible, something that will give actual results. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Kate. From the payments perspective, we touched on this during the conversation. Again, would be the success rate for the payments. Okay, this is one of the most important. You have to understand if your payment solution is being effective, the cost and the location. If we want to boil it down to those three, that's the most important. Again, location, because location will impact your cost of payments. Taking a payment solution, a payment in UK, is not going to be the same cost as taking a payment from Europe as well. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, both of you. Next question is what mistakes do early stage founders most commonly make in marketing?
Yeah, that's the same as the previous question, is not thinking rationally sometimes. Secondly, they think that opening the business is a sprint, but it's a marathon usually, because almost always when you have a business idea and you just start the business, your business would look very differently in 2 years, because you would find a lot of mistakes and where it wouldn't work. So you would be constantly developing and growing your business and editing your positioning, your target audience, services, pricing, because you don't have an actual market experience. And you need to understand that you wouldn't get like a very big boom at the early stage. It's just more of a growth and the marathon again. And yeah, I would say again, bringing all eggs into one basket. When you're just at the early stage, you need to try things. You need to try things and focus on personal brands and networking, because people connect with people. This is just really my biggest insight for the past years, is that personal blogs and brands of company owners work much better than the company pages. And very often people would sell services of their companies through their own social media just because it just gives much better results and the acquisition costs are just much better. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Next question is for you also. How do you build marketing that actually drives sales, not just traffic?
It's about resonating with your audience. It's clearly knowing their pain or hypothetical idea. Why would they come to your business? Because yeah, I know what you mean. In ads especially, you have usually quite good numbers and price in terms of CPM. So like cost per like 1,000 views. But the converting percentage would be quite low usually, just because people see just so many ads every day. So many ads, we see so much. So our site just get blurred. We're not that interested anymore. We don't read stuff where it's clearly said that, oh, that's ads, I'm not gonna read it. So I would say do videos as ads. They are much more interactive. We generate as well a lot of ads visuals with AI recently, just to catch attention. And in terms of static, I would say a very strong headlines and taglines that would kind of catch the human's eyes. You need to really understand the pain that you're closing with your product and hitting this thing very like sharply.
Thank you, Kate. Now, questions for Michael. How can it work alongside cards, wallets, and other methods rather than replacing them?
Well, again, touching upon that before, is having them work alongside each other is because they're not always the same. Okay, so you're not going to put a credit card company with another credit card company in this besides each other. It's about the difference between them and what they do. So if you have one payment solution which is a completely different payment rail, again, it's just giving other people options to pay. So you can put it quite easily besides them without impacting the other one, unless that's your goal. So having other payment solutions like Pay by Bank added to your payment ecosystems or wallets, as I mentioned, wallets very often via APIs. Okay, and that's, think of it as a bridge between one platform to another. Generally, you'd have integrations into that, meaning everything is nestled nicely together. So it doesn't really cause much of a problem for your customers or yourself. So yeah, it works quite nicely adding them together. But again, is understanding, am I duplicating or am I just giving another effective option?
No. Yeah, Mike, you were also talking about crypto. It really resonated with me. I was laughing really because I don't have any crypto like payment systems or whatever, but a lot of customers would be like, "Oh, can I like pay in crypto?" And I'm like, "No, you can't." Yeah.
That's exactly it. So, I mean, it's something, these type of payment solutions are developing, and a lot of people are wanting to use various payment solutions. So maybe it's something to think about.
One day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last question we have for Kate. Where would you recommend starting a business if the marketing budget is very limited?
I mean, in the start of the journey, the market budget is usually very limited always. I wouldn't say this is an exception. I mean, unless you have like an angel investors or you're like an incubator program, this is a little bit different. But usually, it's always low. And what to start from is your current network. You just reach out to people, your friends, acquaintances, or potential business partners, and just sell them your business, sell them your idea. Think how you can collaborate. Think what you can do together. I personally like doing broadcasts like today, and I started doing those like a year ago. And quite often, I would just message bigger bloggers with like much bigger following than I have, and be like, "This is my idea. This is why I like you and your personal brand. This is what I would want to do. I would take care of everything. You just need to come up and talk about this topic with me." And you would be surprised how many people would say yes, even though they would be like given a higher engagement, etc. But for them, it would be like an hour of their time, and you would get amazing content that you can post afterwards, and a brand partnership and the trust of their audience. So I would say it's personalized solutions, personalized tailored solutions, and you just think creatively, what's new I can do, what the other people would be interested in my business. Why would they want to work with me if not on financial basis, but what I can give in return? So yeah, I would say really using your network.
Thank you, and thank you both of you. We covered a lot, from marketing strategies that drives growth to payment strategies that protect margins, and hopefully everyone joined us today has taken away some practical ideas that can implement right away. And thank you to our speakers, thank you to everyone who joined us today. I wish you a great day, and you can always contact us by email, asking additional questions. We always answer you. Then we'll choose the person who won consultancy from Kateryna and some prizes from our partners, and we will contact you by mail.
Thank you
Thank you
everyone
everyone
who
who
joined.
joined, and thank you Kate and
Yeah,
Lilia
thank
for
you.
organizing.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. And
Have a nice weekend as well.
yeah, we can keep up. Yeah, thank you very much. It was really lovely to see you and talk with you, and I wish you a very great weekend as well.